Hi everybody, NZ Tech Freak here, once again for the Clove blog. This time just with a brief video to demonstrate some of the eye candy that you'll get with the latest iteration of HTC's Sensation User interface on flagship handsets of theirs, like the HTC Sensation, which I'm obviously holding here, or the upcoming 3D model. And let's start with the lock screen. As you see, ridiculous eye candy with the viewer, the weather animation unlock there. And what you'll notice is this is pretty nifty. You can just unlock the screen by dragging the ring to the side, or if you touch on any one of the elements, you'll see an icon actually matching the one you're pushing appear within the ring, and you can simply drag it there to say launch straight to the camera or whichever app you happen to want to launch into. Then we get dumped out to the home screen, obviously exiting from there. As per usual with HTC, you've got absolutely stunning weather animations, and if we just go into demo mode here, let's flick through some of these. We have sunny, thunderstorms, each with their own soundtrack, of course. So I think you can appreciate it's just absolutely gorgeous. We exit out of there and head back to the home screens. Just want to show you just how much detail there is in these home screens. Each one of them isn't simply kind of flat rendered elements. If you start to transition between the screens, you'll actually see the flip clock there lifting off. You can even see a little flip rivet mechanism set into the side of that clock, just as you might find looking at a real flip clock. And as the frame stream widget comes in, you'll notice again it's not completely flat. It's actually several elements coming together, and of course you get the lovely animated transition between all these screens. It's just this kind of fine attention to detail that you see on Sense enabled handsets that you don't necessarily see elsewhere. If we pull down the notification tray, you'll see a few other HTC customizations. You'll see shortcut links here to recently used apps right within the notification tray. You'll see a link here to quick settings to let you toggle things like Wi-Fi hotspot, Bluetooth, GPS, and also quick links to all settings or HTC's Task Manager. If we go into the Task Manager, we'll see running applications, how much RAM they're using, free and total RAM, and as I pointed out in the review, not a fantastic free RAM situation, 105 meg sitting on there. If you click on them, it actually takes you to the Manage Applications screen, which seems to work here in Center, though I think I'd prefer it to actually switch you to the application so you could use it as a task switcher of sorts. I guess that's somewhat redundant since you can just long press the home screen, of course, and get to your 8 most recently used apps. Other thing worth pointing out here, the clear button is actually persistently at the top of the notification bar there, so if you have multiple notifications that you're scrolling up and down, you can always hit clear to clear them. Just really small touches like that are really well thought out in Sense. Those of you owning a Galaxy S2 like I also do will be aware that when you scroll up notifications, that clear button disappears off the screen. You have to scroll back to access that. So it's just really small touches like that that really do make a difference. I have to say, on balance, I actually prefer Samsung's implementation of the kind of quick settings type toggles. Here we need to drag down the tray, another press to go to quick settings, and then we're into it. Whereas of course in the Samsung Galaxy S2 or Galaxy S1, you can just pull down the notification tray and they're all sitting right there. So it's just somewhat quicker and easier. And again, a long press of the home key will actually bring you up an option to jump straight into the Task Manager on the Galaxy S, which I do prefer slightly to HTC's implementation. Go into our Apps screen, and what you can see in the Apps drawer is a kind of paginated view. So it'll scroll down, There's an indicator on the side here to show you where you are within the applications tray. I have to say, to quickly get from one end to the other, obviously this isn't good as kind of free scrolling like what you could do in, say, Launcher Pro or various other launchers, but it is quite nice. I do find it actually slightly easier to navigate through my apps and find what I want quickly using this. Of course, you can always go to your frequently used ones, or again across into just the ones that you've downloaded, and again they're in that kind of paginated type view. And if we look here, just go to a couple of the kind of custom apps that HTC put on. Obviously, flashlight app with various intensities. Something like Watch, HTC Watch, which has videos obviously for streaming to download and watch. We flick that into landscape. Quite a nice, pretty straightforward user interface. I've got a lot of video players installed, but if we use the stock streaming one, then you'll see that loading very quickly. The video really does look lovely on this QHD screen. Similarly, HTC's also added stuff like the reader application, which is of course an ebook reader with a pretty similar interface to what you saw in videos. Your kind of cover flow type view. And then a pinch zooming and reflow type arrangement like you'd expect with a lovely page turning animation. If we head back out to the home screen, which as you may be aware is unable to rotate into landscape, which for me is somewhat of a downer because obviously with an UHL TV out connection I'd like to be able to fill the whole screen with the home screen elements when I'm using MHL. But there are some nice things about the home screens, even apart from, as I showed you, the really nice animations. One thing you might have noticed there, if you look at the indicator at the bottom, is they wrap around. And of course, you've got the leap view. So if you do a pinch motion on the screen, you'll see all of your home screens. You can jump to whichever one you want really quickly. You can also, if you long press on one, reposition them pretty handily as well. And that's really nice. And since HTC first came out with this Elite View, of course you've seen lots of other manufacturers bring out their own iterations of the same thing. Samsung Galaxy S2 has a similar thing in its user interface, and most of the custom launchers, things like Launcher Pro Plus, will also do that. So that's just a really quick look through some of the user interface of HTC Sensation. Of course you can customize all of this here with the customize button right from the home screen. You'll see various scenes that HTC have, whether it's play, work, social or travel. You can also see various skins, and you can always get more of these from HTC as well. Looking at the lock screen, just to show it isn't a one-trick pony when it comes to the weather animations. You've also got customized views with your own photo albums, your friend stream type information with feeds from your social networks like Twitter or Facebook, the weather one obviously that I'm using, stocks, or just the clock one. So that's it in a nutshell. Really, really nice user interface, lots of eye candy. Unfortunately, I think HTC is sort of heading into a territory where they're running the risk of this being too bloated, and you can see the occasional sort of micro hitch and lag as you're navigating around the phone in day-to-day use, some of which you could probably lay at the feet of Sense being such a resource hog now with all of this eye candy and all of this added functionality. And I have to wonder whether there's a better way to go about doing that. For instance, using stock Android and actually manufacturers setting up their launchers as applications. So running on top of stock Android, which would let them update handsets really quickly in terms of the base launcher, and then let them separately update their apps to be, the launcher apps to be compatible with that. So I think there's probably some different directions manufacturers need to think about taking when it comes to their launchers. But as it stands, if you're going to get stuck with a manufacturer's one, I think Sense is probably the one you're going to want to have. It's NZ Tech Frag, over and out for the Clove blog.